now. This way I can make this recording available as a link to all of you later. So I'm just curious, as a quick check-in, where's everybody located? If you just type it into the chat, North Carolina. In my last session, I had people from Iraq, from Kurdistan. It was quite the amazing thing. So I hope today finds everybody healthy and well in these turbulent times. So I am doing this as a share because my chair has always said that there is strength in unity, and if there's ever been the need for unity amongst us teachers being thrown into a really difficult environment to all of a sudden go fully online, it is now. Hi, Sindh from Pakistan, welcome. Now, if you do me a favor, if you also put your emails, you can send them to me privately in there. So if there are questions and I can't answer them during the session, then I have your emails and I can reach out later. I am shifting uncomfortably because my back has given me problems because I've been sitting so much at the computer doing these meetings that I haven't had any time to exercise. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I will do my very level best to switch screens. So I have slides prepared, and then I will always switch screens to go to the actual site. And so let's go ahead and let's start. I'm going to start screen share now. Okay, share here. Now, the reason I am not doing a full screen share is so that it's not so difficult to switch between the slides and the actual website. So my name is Dr. Jasmin Cowin. I am an assistant professor and practicum coordinator of Touro College, and I'm also the vice president and conference chair-elect from New York State TESOL. I have a blog. I will share my blog with you because I will be posting these slides on the blog, and they will also be available at New York State TESOL. So Touro College, there you go, Graduate School of Education, the TESOL and Bilingual program. We do teacher education and certification programs for teachers here in New York. And if you're interested, you will have a link in order to see our offerings. Now, next. If you are a member of New York State TESOL, you can get the CLTE credits, and you can also join New York State TESOL for only $20.20. All of these links will be provided for you. Let's see. And so I don't do that. You have to fill out an online form, and I can't help you there. Now, let's go to for whom these slides are. So these slides were designed to provide you with a collection of tools and strategies for yourself, parents, students, and teachers. So, all right, now let's go. So the first thing that we have to be very cognizant about is, like, we are all on the receiving line for an enormous amount of emails. Everybody's emailing you, right? So let's be mindful about the amount of information that we are pushing out to our parents. I recommend that we think about only one of these tools at one time, that you don't do a list to the parents, because it is a huge learning curve for your parents. I even, if it's possible, recommend that you do a little Zoom and you take your parents with their students through that one particular tool that you might have picked that is useful, all right? Just always one tool, because it's really a lot for the parents. Many of our parents are not digital natives. I have a suspicion that their children will do much better with it than the parents. Now, the other question is, what devices do your students have to access all of this information? Maybe you can do an informal overview. You know, are they mainly working from a cell phone, or are they working from a laptop or a desktop? So cell phones have a limited availability of functions, as you know. So if most of your students are working off a cell phone, we need to be mindful to pick things that they can access through the cell phone. And it's always a good idea to check in on everybody's emotional health, because our parents are getting very overwhelmed. These are very trying times. I will give you the links for the form in a second, Faika, okay? All right. So I did a little experiment. You know, as you know, I'm a teacher educator, and I had some of my students actually do some of this research for me. And the first research and the first free website that I have for you is the readingbear.org. So it's basically a website that has a 10-step process to ensure that students know all of the consonant sounds before going up to the next step. And these steps include listening, practicing, and learning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now go into the Reading Bear. And I'm going to share a different part of okay? Bear requires sign up, but it's free, okay? So you have to sign up, but it's free. Now it has an introductory video.
Reading Bear is a fun and free way to learn to read. Reading Bear teaches phonics and vocabulary together as part of a customizable multimedia learning system. We have 50 presentations representing around 12 hours of carefully edited instruction. Reading Bear is systematic and progressive, building from simple consonant-vowel-consonant words like dog to gradually more advanced phonics patterns, more than 100 altogether. By the end, your readers will know exactly how to decode and read advanced words.
All right, that's enough of that. So I'm going to take you through. It has a getting started question answer section, tips and tools. And it has videos of presentations. It has who are these people in Reading Bear, and then it has the traditional ages of 4 through 7. But taking a look at our English language learners, you know, if you have someone who is at the even at the silent stage, this might be a very good resource to start working with them on what I call basic language acquisition techniques, and they can do this at home. I'm going to start sharing my next slide. 1 second. New share, and I'm going to share this. All right. The next slide is Story Online. So what's Story Online? I'm going to go to Story Online. 1 second. And I'm going to share that screen for you. 1 moment. All right. Story Online. Story Online, again, is a free resource. All right. It's free. So what do you see? You see all sorts of books, okay, and they are being read by different celebrities. I don't know if you already know about this, but it's fabulous. So why is this good for parents? Because you can pick a book and you can even send the link to the parents, and they can sit with their children and they can hear someone else read the book to them. Okay, and these books are, you know, culturally sensitive without any bias, and it has a very rich selection of books in all different types of reading levels. Okay, I am going to now give you a link to Storyline. One moment, I'm going to go into chat. Storyline. All right, that's Storyline. Okay, I'm going to share a different resource now with you. I'm going to new share and I'm going to go here. All right. Now the next the next resource I have for you is Twig Resources. So Twig Resources is really short videos in English and Spanish, visuals, independent studies. They have over 900 videos in English and over 750 videos in Spanish. I'm going to take you to Twig now. Give me a second to switch screens. Okay, I'm going to switch screens now. Okay, share. All right. So this is for your science lessons, and these are actually awesome because it has, you know, all of these lessons already done for you, and they can be sent to parents, or you can use them, you know, if you are doing Zooms. But it also has all of these videos that deal with science, and they are only between 2 and 4 minutes at the most. Okay, they are very, very short. This makes a lot of sense because otherwise, you know, the amount of time that the students spend watching is not really, it's not really a good idea for an English language learner to watch a 10-minute video because they're not going to remember. But with a 1-minute video, they can handle that. And it then goes down to activities and the core learning. And it also has visuals for you. And it also comes with activity sheets. And if you want to get really, really, really fancy, you can do quizzes. But what I like is the games, because the games can be done together with the parents. So I'm going to give you the Twigs science tools. There you go. All right. So far, so good. I'm going to stop. I'm going to share the next screen. There we go. Now, the next one is a Spanish bilingual resource. And these are bibliographies, and they deal with common themes and topics at grade levels. And so these are Spanish bilingual resources. I'm going to go, 1 second, and find that for you. A moment. Just give me a second to upload that. Okay. Spanish bilingual resources, there we have it. New share. Okay. All right. So these bilingual resources, I'm going to put them now. I mean, this is bibliographies from there, from this particular program, but they are free to access. So you don't have to pay, and I'm going to put it into Spanish. And if you send parents a link directly into what you want to cover, then you pick your grade level. It goes from K through 5. And let's say that you want to send them a link into what it is that you want them to cover. It's going to be done in Spanish, or if you want it to be done in English, you can send this in English too. 1 second. I'm going to send you this link. Terry, you asked the question, grade band all the way up to high school. You can find, you know, it depends on which, not only the grade level, but what language level that your students are. But the content goes all the way from elementary to high school, and it's actually divided into elementary and high school for your convenience. So now, Fluent Key is a language learning videos filled with authentic movies, music, news, commercials, and more. And actually one of my students, her name is Kelsey Das, she went ahead and she looked at it, and it allows, provides immersions in all aspects of English. It contains a wide array of exceptional English materials for students and actually parents too, because it takes real world movies and videos and turns them into a personalized language learning process. So I'm going to go and try to find Fluent for you so that we can see that. 1 second. I have to get the link to work, okay. Open link. Open. One moment. Copy. This is a learning process for all of us. I hope that, you know, it gets easier with time. All right. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see Fluent. All right. So you have to sign up, but it has a library, and it has a library of more than one language accessibility. So the library is in Spanish, it is in English, but you can also find Arabic, Chinese, French, German, Italian, Korean, Portuguese, and Russian. So, and even Hebrew, Latin, and American Sign Language. So I found that to be a really useful resource, because it doesn't suppose that you're all teaching only Spanish-speaking ELLs, but you have other choices here too. And so these movies, again, these resources are in divisions. And so when we look at this, it says A, B, and that is from the European Common Framework. The European Common Framework is divided into 3 sections: the A section, which is beginning, the B section, which is the intermediate, and the C section, which is almost native fluency. We'll find not so many in the C section. Those are not usually our students who need the most support. And the A and B sections are again divided into A1, A2, A3, and then B1, B2, B3. And that is the way that the European Common Framework for English language learning works. And that's just for for interest. Let's see what we have, or categories. We have educational. 1 second. So you can get transcripts, and let's see what we have here. So as you can see, you can design videos, you can create classes, students, and all of those things. And I'm going to go to featured. And it's not working because my computer is not happy right now, but who knows if it will come back. So there we are. So these are, again, you know, in terms of English language learning, these are done so that you can just send them out. I don't know if we want to really send anything out on top of what's going on coronavirus, because everything that we seem to see right now is about coronavirus. Maybe it would be nice to focus on something that's not necessarily just coronavirus, but that's perhaps only my own personal opinion. And I'm going to go and give you this link. All right. I'm going to share my screen again. All right. Now we're going to come to the International Children's Library. The International Children's Library is a completely open resource, and it's fabulous. And so the idea is that children will be able to listen to and read picture books. So, and it's they have picture books, audio. One second. I am on a webinar. I am on, Kai is upstairs. You have to call his cell phone, please. I'm on a webinar. I'm working. I'm sorry. I have 150 people on my webinar. Who is this? I can't, okay, you have, I'm sorry. Okay, bye. Okay, all right. Like everybody else right now, I have a child at home who is obviously in school, in online school, and the amount of information that's coming towards me is overwhelming. That's why I say to all of you, be very mindful how much you send to your parents and how many links. I would really keep it down to one. You're going to get this whole presentation, and you can pick a link that you think would be useful for you. But if you send 10 links, no one is going to be able to handle that amount of information, especially since every teacher seems to be sending their own email to not only parents, but the children, and things become very convoluted very quickly. So if you have a personal learning network with your own particular school, what would make sense is that you all agree perhaps on one link that you're all going to use for like a couple of days, so that the parents and the children get experienced in using that particular link, instead of each of you, maybe the science teacher sends one and then someone else sends another one. Just focus on one or two links and that's it, and work from there to scale up. Yes, you will be able to see this presentation. I'm recording it, and I'm going to share the cloud recording as soon as it's uploaded to cloud. All right, so we are now here in the International Children's Digital Library. And the reason why I love it, first of all, you have to sign in. It's free, it's not a problem. The reason why I love it is because it's an international children's digital library. International means that it really speaks to all of our different groups. And from a Mongolian story to English, to Spanish, to German, to Russian, to French, it really covers a lot of ground in what I consider culturally sensitive materials. And so when you go into these books, I would recommend that you pick a book that you want them to read, all right? And you pick a book, and the first time visitors, they read a book, they need to open a library account, and then you, of course, you have like featured books. It depends on what you like. And so right now the featured books are Celtic Tales, the Legend of the Maori, that's from New Zealand, which is very cool. And this is a Japanese folk story that they are posting. And if you go into Spanish, it's right here. And they also have Farsi books, which I thought was sort of really a nice addition. So what I recommend is that you go in, that you rifle around, and that you decide which book it is that you want to assign your students, all right? And I will get, what I think the best way to do it would be to help your teacher, help your students to sign in. So they need to, registering is optional. But if you register, you can select the language that you prefer to use. But if you don't want to sign in, you can still use it. So I'm going to copy this link, paste it. This is the International Children's Library, all right? I'm going to go back to my screen and I'm going to share another slide. So this is from Kelsey Das, and she is one of our students. And she found this website, Learn That Vocabulary. All right, I'm going to take you to that website. And this is why it's very important that you only share things that you've already explored and really understand what it is that you're going to be asking your students to do. You actually have to go into these websites, and then you have to think about, are my students going to be able to navigate this, or should I go with something that's more simple? Because everybody here is at the beginning of their learning curve. But if you have students who are very advanced and they are good with their digital use and they have a computer, this might be an opportunity. So for students, first of all, this is a free website, but the free part of your website has limited usability, but it's still a vocabulary learning site. So you can search as a student for word lists. And so I'm going to put in all about, well, let's do senses, because it's sort of something. So common senses, the 5 senses. So here we have the 5 senses. So this is like a little spelling bee thing, and the list of words is 5 words, and we can show the words, and it shows the 5 words. And maybe you want to have like a picture to go with that, but in any which case, so these are word lists that are already pre-done for you that your students can access. So I'm going to go into one more. So how it works. Now, this gives you also videos. It says how students, teachers, and administrators benefit, and Google Apps for education. So I'm going to give you...
Words are the foundation of everything you...
I'm going to give you the YouTube introductory video to this so that you can check it out all by yourself. I'm going to share again another resource. I would think that most of you are familiar with Coloring Colorado. How many of you are familiar with this part, with this bilingual website? I'd just like to know if you type into chat. How many of you are familiar with this website? I'm curious. Awesome. I have one person, use it frequently. Yes. I'm going to quickly go to it anyway, because we have people from all over the world, and they might not, but I'm not going to spend too much time in it because I see that most of you have already accessed it. So for those of you who haven't, this is a fantastic website with a huge amount of resources. And I want to make sure that everybody, including our overseas guests, have this link. Oops, I have to do it to everyone. So this is to all of my visitors from overseas, a really, really wonderful link with free resources. Go and check it out. I think they have done a fabulous job, and it's a really rich place to go for resources that go beyond what I can cover in a little in a little share. I'm going to go and share my screen one more time. And we have now here a wonderful resource. This is a YouTube channel that offers over 40 videos to help ELL students learn different pronunciations, grammar practice, as well as listening and speaking practice. Each video varies in time from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. And they include emphasis in English, T at the end of the sentences. But, you know, almost all of our students have a cell phone and a YouTube. They know how to get to YouTube. I know that they get to YouTube because I know for some reason, if all else is not there, it's WhatsApp, Instagram, WeChat, YouTube. Those seem to work no matter what and no matter where. So I'm going to go and do the YouTube. 1 second. I'm going to take you there because it's a fabulous place to be. So where did that go? Here we go. I hope that I have it all on. Okay. All right. Do you all see the correct? Is it the right thing? Yes, wonderful. So we have, these are already put together for you videos that you can use with your students. You can perhaps assign them 1 or 2 depending on where they are, okay? So you have to go through all of these videos because there are a huge amount of videos in here. But let's say that you want to focus on pronunciation. Maybe you send them 1 link, pronunciation, listening practice, episode 1. And then you work your way up that chain. And these are really a great resource because when they go in there, there's nothing else but this in there. Even for the parents, there's nothing else but this in there. So they don't have to go and look for anything. And even if they go into that particular environment, all they're going to see are videos about English. I'm going to share that link with you. All right. There we go. All right. I'm going to be sharing couple more resources. So I don't want to overload you. One moment. So Zern, which is Math by Toro Teasel candidate Kelsey Das. So this is a multiple means of representation and expression. So it's a math program that can be used for your ELL students because our ELLs also need help with those skills. And I'm going to take you to Zern. But I have to, I think, boring stuff for grown-ups here. Second, I have to find this, new share. Okay. So they offer curriculum, professional development, and they offer resources. And they have sample materials, and they have a webinar library. So if you click on sample materials, this will come up as a free resource. But you have to fill out a little email, you know, so that you can have the accessibility to it. And I know that we are all scared of having accounts all over the place, but I promise you, it's really worthwhile. What I actually have done is I created an email only for those those particular things that I'm signing up now, so that it's not all going into my work email. So I have a Dr. Cowin J, and then I say, what did I say? Online, and at gmail.com. And so then I'm signing up and signing into these accounts, but it's in a separate email address, so it doesn't all end up being in my email, because I don't know when this is over, if I need to have all of this stuff with all of the emails that you're going to be starting to get from them. So I've just felt that this would be a better way. So, okay, so next. This is a literacy center, completely free website to support playful learning in children. And I'm going to go and take you there. If you give me a second. There we go. And I'm going to do a new share of the screen. One second. New. A moment. Okay, here we go. Share. So this is for younger children, but depending on where your if your ELLs are at the very beginning of their journey, this might be a good resource for you to have. So play and learn games. You have it in English, Spanish, French, and German. I would think that the German is probably not so popular, but these would be the kinds of things that you would be seeing in there, so they can practice with, you know, with their parents. And then they have a whole resource for both parents and teachers. And when you go back, you will see that this is also available in Spanish. For your bilinguals, all right? So I'm going to give you the literacy net. So this is for your younger children. But who knows, you know, you might have students who had interrupted schooling and they need to practice these skills. You know, it depends. You know your groups best. So we have been here for a while, for 40 minutes. So I am going to go for resources that are larger, and that is open educational resources. So how many of you have used open educational resources? If you just let me know. Because open educational resources is really like a wonderful, everything is open, Creative Commons. You can use these resources to your heart's content. And it's really a fantastic opportunity to also share something like that with your parents. Okay, so I'm gonna go and share the screen. I'm gonna give you the link. There you go. Now, this is a wide open field, all right? So you can, I use this because I use it for my teacher candidates, but you can go by subject, you can go by education level, you can go to your heart's content with all of the standards. Let me go there. So if you see, like, look at this. So if you are in Washington or Wyoming or Pennsylvania, or you want to have the ASSL 21st century or the next generation or the Common Core state standards in English, you can go and sort those out. But you also can go into groups. And you have to sign in to go into groups. I am in groups, but you know, this is too much to do now. And you can go into resources. And when you go into resources, you have English language arts, and then you have diagrams, and you have lectures, and you have lessons, and you have reading, and you have student guides, and you have textbooks. And they vary, but then you have to decide what sort of textbook do you need and what sort of textbook would you like to use. But everything in there is free. Everything in here is free. So I like going into the English language arts, and then what's very useful are reading foundation skills, reading informational texts. So it has all of the 4 things that we need. So it has the reading, the writing, the listening, and the speaking. So the 4 that we need. And it has a lot of different resources. So how useful, like teaching digital literacy. Okay, now we're going to go to take care of ourselves, because while we take care of everybody else, we also need to start thinking about us. I have for you, and I will post this, as I said, curated readings for you. And it starts with navigating uncertain times, and has a school closure planning document and tools and apps for school closures due to COVID-19. And it has a diversity toolkit introduction. So I will make that available for everybody. Okay. I recommend that teaching alone is hard. So we should be talking to colleagues. And I would really like to create for all of us a personal learning network. And as I said before, it's really important that we don't overwhelm parents with a lot of these tools. The best way to do this is if you are working with colleagues in your school and you are working on a online learning process, that you pick 1 or 2. Don't pick 10. Your parents are not going to be able to navigate it, and the kids won't be able to really follow through and go in depth. It's better if you use 1 or 2 really well than if you bombard everybody with 10 different tools, because it actually takes time to learn how to navigate them. And I'm probably going to do another webinar in the future on what we can use when our students don't have access to an iPad or a desktop. What if it's only a cell phone? And I'm trying to pull in resources, because the functionality of a cell phone is very different than that of obviously a laptop or other electronic devices, and it's mostly app centered. But I don't want to do anything before I haven't tried all of these apps out myself. And I will say, in my current experience, my cell phone is littered with these apps, and I have reached my memory limit. And so I think that's a good learning curve for me, because we need to be very judicious in the way that we send the resources. So if we find one app that seems to be very good, that should be it, because it's not 5, because most people have 10,000 photos and they don't know how to download them, which means that they have no space. So I have here connections with other educators. So these are hashtags, hashtag remote teaching, hashtag remote learning, hashtag K through 12. And I'm going to give those to you also in the presentation. I'm going to post the link to my blog at the very end, because that's where all of this will show up in about 30 minutes. Now, here are some groups to join. Obviously, New York State TESOL, right? Because we all TESOL educators. They have a lot, and I mean a lot, of resources, and they are running a ton of webinars. So I recommend that you go and you look at TESOL Facebook, New York State TESOL Facebook. There are a lot of groups. Then I have a HyperDocs group. I have another group of amazing educational resources. I have a K through 12 teacher support for emergency online instruction. It's also on Facebook. And I have teacher memes for all of you who need to have a good laugh, because otherwise, you know, we're going to go nuts. We need to have a little sense of humor. So I'm going to go to my last slide, and I'm going to unmute everybody. And if you have a question, or you would like to ask something, and if I can be helpful, I will certainly try.
Check in.
Hi, so everybody is unmuted, and if anyone has a question, please let me know.
Okay.
Yeah?
Thank you. Bye.
Does anyone have any questions? Anyone, does anyone have any questions?
Hello, yes, I was wondering, where will we find the recording when you're done?
Okay, I'm going, 1 second. I'm gonna tell you that in a second.
Thank you.
So I'm going to now paste my blog address in here. 1 second. So this is my blog. Yes, I see this. I see. So I will put the recording on my blog, and I see that Cornelia is asking that that she's a high school ESL teacher who has many students without without internet, and so I think that this is really one of those issues of digital equity that we need to address. And I am on it. I am trying to figure out how to do this, because there are resources, but then the question is, if the students don't have internet and we certainly can't send them to a library, how do we do this? And it requires a little bit more thought on my part. Michelle, you're going to get CTLE credits by logging into New York State TESOL, and they have a link. I will answer your question in a second. If you made a schedule with 10 writing assignments as instructed by your school, but we are out of school until May 1st. So what is it that you do in this case? First of all, we have one weapon that we haven't really used. We have a phone. Remember that? So maybe it would be possible to create a phone conference. I remember those. Does anybody remember those phone conferences? No one?
Yes.
Okay. So we know that our students have cell phones. The reason why we know that is because they use them all the time when they're in class. 100%. And I know that they're all on their cell phones doing stuff right now. So the question is it possible, let's say, to have a short phone conference every second or third day with different groups? I don't know how large your classes are. So let's say that you have a class of 20, that you take always five students in one phone conference. And you go with them through a new assignment. It's the same assignment for all 20, but instead of having 20 on, you only have 5 on at a time, because it gives you the chance to interact on a different level. So that might be a possibility, because we know that our students have phone service. We do, because they call everybody except us. So that would be an idea that I've been thinking about, you know, because when we say we are online, it's only as good as the online is for our students, right? Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions? Are there any thoughts of what you would like of what you would like as a next webinar. What do you think might be useful to you? Anyone have an idea of what they would like as a as another webinar? What sort of webinar might be useful for you? All right, I'm putting this in the chat, and I'm awaiting with great anticipation what you think might be a good place. Focus on secondary newcomers. All right. Anybody else? All right. So there was a question how to get credit on these CLTs from New York State TESOL. So I'm going to go into TESOL. 1 second. And I'm going to try to find that for you. A moment. All right. Make that lower. One moment. And I am here. Okay. I have the site, and I'm going to post for the webinar here. One moment. Okay. Chat. Okay, there we go. I'm going to give you the link. This is the form that I was given by New York State TESOL, so that you can fill out a Google form and do this on your own. All right. I don't give out those, so you have to, if you have questions, ask someone who maybe has done it before. Here is the link to New York State TESOL. They are offering a $20.20 membership if you would like that. So I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying if you want, because there are like 100 webinars that currently are in either production or coming or already happened, and there is a whole spreadsheet. All right. So I hope that you found this webinar useful, and I am going to stop recording because we come to the end of this particular meeting. Are there any questions that anybody would like to ask? Anyone?